Hey, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Christina Harrison, and in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to stay in your legs, how to use the power in your legs, my opinion on what I see a lot of athletes doing wrong, and the tools and different methods I use to correct those things. Notice that I said in my opinion, because every instructor and every coach has a different philosophy and has success using different things. So in this video, whenever I refer to the lower half and different things that I work on, it is what I have found works best for me and the athletes that I work with. So by all means, try different ways, try different techniques, but hopefully you find value in what it is that I'm trying to share with you. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is spinning through our foot, squishing the bug, rotating heavily through your foot. I am not one to coach that method. We hear it a lot with younger kids, and I do think that there is value in it whenever you are trying to teach a very young athlete to get their foot up facing this direction, heel up off the ground. I do see the value in that. However, I can squish the bug through my foot, like just turning my foot, because this is what I commonly see. I see athletes turning their foot. They're not driving their knee forward. They're not sitting in their hip. They just spin through their foot, okay? And I can do a lot of squishing and not be using my hips and my lower half. So I really try to get away from squish the bug, and I try to work on my athletes driving from the inside of their foot and really using the force of the ground, generating force forward into the ball at a linear movement as their first movement. A couple of tools that I use to help really work off the inside of our foot is you can get some type of platform or a wedge. You know the wedges that go behind a car. You can get those. You can make your own platform. I also use these balance pods. Okay, and you can place that underneath your athlete's foot. Have it to where they're only working off their big toe. So whenever they're practicing whatever they're using, their baby toes up off the ground, all their toes are up. They're really just applying all the force off the inside of their foot. So sometimes if you see athletes standing in the batter's box and they have their feet turned in a little bit, that's what they're doing, is they're placing the weight on the inside of their feet so that they can really like keep their weight back off the inside of this foot and drive forward on the inside of this foot. So we're creating that weight shift off the inside of our feet. Another common thing that I see a lot of athletes doing is whenever they load, they shift straight back and they don't really sit into their hip. So when they go backwards, it's just this. It's just a movement straight back. And what we would like to do is create a movement like a turn into their hip. So a way that I kind of break that down to my athletes is we want to take our hip, this part of our hip, and we want to send it straight into the ball. Now, when I'm focusing on teaching them how to get into a proper hip hinge, because I have found that that is difficult for a lot of athletes. For my younger ones, I talk about a sticker. If we had a sticker right here on their hip, we want to fold that sticker. We want to bend into that sticker. Okay, and then whenever we come forward, we're going to open the sticker at the ball. Now, the key to really using your hips and generating a lot of power from your hips is when you get into your hip hinge, you want to hold that hip hinge as long as you can. So as I'm here, I'm driving my knee underneath, I'm pushing off the inside of my foot, I'm driving my knee underneath my hip, but I'm holding that hinge. I'm not standing straight up, okay? And I'm gonna talk about that next, but you're holding that bend, and then you're gonna send your power into the ball in the direction that you're trying to hit it. So with my older ones, and I do sometimes my younger ones, but I use the energy ball concept. So if this ball is where we're trying to get our force, it's where we're hitting this ball, okay? To get the power here into this ball, we have to shift our weight back to here. These two line up, right? So if we're trying to get a whole bunch of force here and we push straight back and we put our weight into this ball straight back, those don't line up. That doesn't line up. If we put all of our weight down into our knee, that doesn't line up. Putting all your weight here doesn't generate force here. So to get the max amount of force from our hip, we need to rotate back onto a track to feel it here to drive here. This lines up. So if you had a string straight through your hip, like a rubber band, and you pulled yourself back, that would explode straight this direction into the ball. So we're going to pull our string back and explode this ball into that ball to the direction in which we are sending that ball. Now, what I mean by getting on a track. So when you're rotating back, like when we load back, we want our hip to come at an angle this way, kind of like a rounded track. So it's not just here, we're going to rotate back. Now, whenever we get into that track, we want to stay coming forward on that track. So a lot of times I'll see we go straight back, and then from straight back, we try to turn and we go around the ball. Now, a lot of that does have to do with your upper body, and in this video, we're only sticking to our lower half, right? So when we focus on the lower half, staying on that track, we rotate, and then whatever track, like whatever movement you had to go back, you stay on that same exact movement coming forward. So this and that doesn't feel the same. This and coming straight wouldn't feel the same. Like you literally want to stay on that same track like a dance, finding a rhythm, going back on the track and then coming right back forward on that same track. Another big problem that I see with athletes staying in their legs is they stand up too soon. So back to the point of holding that hip hinge as long as you can. I see this a lot. I see athletes load, even if they did everything right, like we rotated, then we drive forward. As soon as they start coming, they stand up. So this hip is completely tall by the time they're at the ball. And then once you're tall here, now from here, all we got is our arms. We don't have any force of the ground and drive through our legs. So whenever we talk about staying down through the ball, I'm gonna hold my hinge. I'm gonna get here at the ball. I'm still in my hinge. I'm going into an angle. My knee is underneath my hip. I'm off the inside of my foot and my heel is up. And then from here, I'm going to stay down here, stay in my legs right here until I'm through. My head will be on the inside and I'm extended. And then once you go into your extension and come on up, you can straighten up in that leg. But as long as you're here at the ball, we're down on the ball, where our hip is facing the ball, is in a bend, and then as we grab the ball, we're gonna generate our force through the back side of our hip and really push into the ball where we want it to go. So since this video is kind of piggybacking off of my 6-step drill video that I made, I'm gonna kind of go over everything. I'm gonna do the 6-step drill real quick where I'm breaking down the points that I just said in this video. So we have 1, okay, making sure we rotate it back into that hip, okay. 2, we separate. Now once we separate, now we're gonna drive our knee forward, okay, pushing off the inside of our foot. Our knee is underneath our hip. We do not wanna lock that front knee. You want to keep that front knee at a slight bend, okay? Keep it at a slight bend right here because that's down in our legs. We're gonna get here in our teeter-totter. This is getting connected, okay? From here, now we're gonna start rotating our hip forward. So we're gonna start that spring where we're meeting the ball. We hold our hinge, we start rotating, and as we meet the ball with our hip will start exploding straight and our knee will bring back against us. So it'll straighten as we come forward. That's staying connected. So 4, 5, we drive forward, we straighten that leg, and then 6. And when you finish, you should be shoulder, hip, knee, ground, heel up. Your weight will be on that big toe. You should be able to lunge straight down. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found value in it. And if you think someone else can get value from this video, please feel free to share it to them. If you have any questions about anything, or you want to further talk about this, or even talk about something else with anything around softball in general, please feel free to comment below. Send me an email, coachchristinaharrison@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, let's keep getting better together.